Article 8, old business, revised TAP grant estimates. Okay, so the staff met with MDOT officials to get some new estimates for the possible costs of the road diet. Is this, Dave, are you taking this over now?
Myself, Sam, and Jason.
Okay, great.
Answer questions.
I assume going to be questions about the specifics of the scenarios. My overarching question to start is so when we looked at all of those slides, Cook Street, Budlong, Waldron, Hillsdale, is this Hillsdale Street here, this Howell, were those part of the full add-ons? Is that the comprehensive package, which is scenario 1 plus both of the add-ons?
So what you're describing with some of the other projects like Cook Street, the parking lot, the City Hall improvements, that is part of the full scope of the project, but some of those are the non-participating items that are in addition to the TAP eligible items. So what you're describing right now is inclusive of the total project.
Okay, so maybe let's, unless council has a different approach, go through the different scenarios and talk about what we get with each, unless you want to start somewhere else.
Yeah, really quick, I just want to take a second to, I think just to briefly recap where we're at and talk a little bit about these numbers. So city staff recently had the opportunity to meet with MDOT. We had several virtual meetings with them. This is the first time that we had a formal opportunity to sit down with, again, our city staff and MDOT and go through line by line the grant application and get some answers to questions on eligibility for certain items, what is considered participating versus non-participating. And so we had those meetings, and I just want to add that is kind of part of the normal grant review process, right? Typically, the applicant will submit a grant request. The agency that is funding that will then take a look at the application and evaluate it. And then usually both parties will sit down together afterwards to go through it line by line. And then if there are any necessary adjustments that need to be made or questions about funding criteria, that's the point at which those are addressed. So that's where we're at now. Based on the feedback from those meetings with MDOT, we were advised to make several changes to that budget that was originally submitted with the grant application. Like we mentioned at, I think the previous council meeting, there were some items that were double counted. We were right about that, so we had an opportunity to back those costs out. Some of those items are the non-participating, so we had to categorize them correctly. And then there were a few other minor changes to the project that MDOT wanted us to make. So we went back through, Jason and Frank and staff, we got new estimates on all of the individual line items, and we made the changes requested by MDOT. And so the numbers you see in front of you today, we're bringing these to council to keep you informed, as this grant application review process continues. So MDOT has looked at these numbers, they've looked at them favorably. We are still awaiting some clarification on whether some of the items that are categorized as miscellaneous currently are going to be TAP eligible or going to be deemed non-participating. And so that's why you can see when we broke it out by several funding scenarios, because we want to give, this is our best attempt to let council understand that this is kind of a menu of options at this point. We're not asking council to make a decision tonight, but we're talking about where we're currently at with the grant. So if you look at that item that we included under scenario 1, this is just what the city's 20% match would be for the TAP eligible items. So, that includes the main stretch of Broad Street, it includes the bike lanes, some of the restriping that needs to be done. And so the 20% city match for TAP eligible items only would come in at about $114,000. And then we included, if you look at scenario 2, that is, right now we don't know whether the miscellaneous items will all be TAP eligible or non-participating, so we took those out to give council another indication of how it would look, what the match would look like, the 20% match, if those items were backed out. And then what we did, the add-ons, those are the non-participating items. So it means they are not eligible for TAP funding under this grant. So if we want to include them within the scope of this project as presented, then those are things that need to be funded with local dollars. And so you can see there the kind of range of options. Now, I will say, looking ahead, again, we are going to get some clarification. There's a individual that works for MDOT that is on vacation until the 11th.
Correct.
And when he gets back, we should have a good idea whether those miscellaneous are going to be TAP eligible. We believe they are going to be, but we need to wait for confirmation on that. And then we're also exploring, we're going to explore with TIFA, to what extent they would be able to support some of the non-participating items. And so what we're doing here tonight is just presenting kind of the updated scenarios and where we're at, and then looking ahead, once we get that, the last parts of the information we need, we would anticipate coming back to council at our next meeting on the 18th, because MDOT needs this council to reaffirm its support for the project and decide if we are going to fund and include those non-participating items. So that's where council will have an opportunity to make a decision on whether we want to do just the base TAP eligible stuff or the non-participating as well. And again, we should know by then for sure whether the miscellaneous will be eligible, and also if TIFA is willing to make a contribution. So we will have updated numbers as well for next week's meeting, but this is what we have in the meantime based on conversations with MDOT. This is where things currently stand.
Thank you. For optional add-on number 2, are you calculating it currently under the assumption that the miscellaneous items are ineligible and the cost could go
So that's it.
down if they're eligible?
That's correct. So
Okay,
option
so that's
4 is like,
maximum.
that's truly worst case scenario.
Okay.
If all the miscellaneous was to be categorized as ineligible. We don't think that's likely to happen, but we wanted to put that there again. We're trying to show kind of the lower and upper bounds here to give an accurate portrayal.
Okay, no, thank you. I appreciate that. I was just clarifying the grammar. That's helpful though. Okay, and then, sorry, then I'll hand it off. Do any of these cost breakdowns below correlate to either option 1 and 2 or either of the add-ons? I was having trouble figuring out which list of costs correlated to which scenario or set of scenarios and options.
So you're referring to the engineer's cost opinion estimate that we have in there? So that's the full cost opinion estimate for the entire project. So that reflects both the TAP eligible items as well as all of the non-participating. And so that total number you see at the bottom, that 836,000, that would be inclusive of the TAP eligible plus all of the non-participating.
Okay,
Yep.
Is there, for example, category number 6, traffic signal broad at Carlton, can we assign that list of costs to option number 1 or scenario number 1 or one of the add-ons? Do we know specifically what we're getting under each scenario is another way of phrasing it?
So yep, so that would be part of scenario 1.
Okay.
For that, the traffic signal broad at Carlton.
So do you know which estimates correlate to which scenarios and add-ons?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's how we calculated the scenario. So it's going through, so like when you look at and you see the City Hall tap, Waldron Street tap, Cook Street tap, those are all tap eligible items. When you see
Those are option number 4 or add-on number 2, excuse me.
So add-on number 2 is if you take the miscellaneous plus the Cook Street non-participating and the City Hall non-participating.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry,
Yep.
say that again.
So optional add-on 2, to arrive at that number, that's taking the Cook Street non-participating, the City Hall non-participating, which you would have to fund those 100% through local dollars as non-participating items, and it's also adding in the miscellaneous should the miscellaneous be deemed TAP ineligible, in which case that would have to be funded locally as well. And again, that's the worst case scenario for that option, but that's how you arrive at that Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, Waldron, is that under 1, optional add-on 1?
Waldron is part of the TAP.
That's
That's TAP eligible.
Yeah, that's scenario two.
Correct. So,
Scenario two.
yeah, so
Scenario
when you
two,
see, when you see in there where it says City Hall tap, Waldron Street tap, Cook Street tap, those are the tap eligible items. If it says tap on it, it is tap eligible. If you're looking at the first cover page, that totals the, or has the 836,000.
Yes.
Sam, maybe it'll make it easier. So if we look at scenario one, that includes, if you look at category numbers, that includes category 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7.
Perfect. This is exactly what I want. Thank you, Mr. Mackey.
Yeah,
And what about scenario two?
Scenario 2 includes 1, 2, 3, and 6. And optional add-on 1 is the 4 and 5. And then the optional add-on 2
It's 4, 5, and 7.
is everything, yes.
4, 5, 6, and 7?
4, 5, and 7 is optional add-on number 2.
So
So,
the full 143,000 under number 7.
Okay, sorry that took so long to get there, but that's what I was looking for.
No, it's
Thank you.
okay.
I appreciate that.
so
Councilman
optional
Bratz?
add-on two looks different if under scenario one than it does under scenario two. Is that right then? If 7 is involved.
7 is not, no, 7 is not involved in 2.
Okay.
Just 1, 2, 3.
Right, so number 2, we're removing our 20% off of scenario 1 of number 7, which is, equates to about $28,600 some dollars. And that's what brings us down to the 85,000. But in option 2, we're adding in the full 143,000. It's 100% our cost.
On the miscellaneous.
On
Do
the
you-
miscellaneous.
Do you have an advanced idea of which ones of the miscellaneous are most likely to be ineligible, if any?
So actually, we were told based on a conversation that they thought they would be eligible. But again, the person who actually makes that call is out till the 11th, next Monday. So that's why Sam mentioned that. So we'll know more next Monday.
Okay, great, thank you. That's what I wanted to get out there before we moved on to anything further. Okay, anything from council? Yes, Councilman Flynn.
Just to clarify, we haven't been approved for the grant yet, correct?
We have not.
No.
We have not.
Oh, we have-
Is there a date out there that MDOT says we will make an announcement on this date, whether or not you are eligible?
Yeah, so what we need to do after this, after we reaffirm that the local match, that we do want to do the local match with non-participating, we then need to resubmit our TAP with the new numbers we have. They're asking if we can get that in by the end of the month to keep on the schedule for engineering, drawing, and conception for next season, for a 2027 project.
And do I also understand correctly then that if we choose to continue and do all of the local projects that may not be eligible, that MDOT will engineer those?
Those costs are included in this.
Okay. Do we happen to know, have we figured out, since we currently don't have an engineer, how much we might be saving to have MDOT do that engineering instead of having to hire somebody, say down the road, to do those projects piecemeal?
Actually, you're saving about 7% by having them do that encompass with the project.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
So, real quickly, just to reiterate, so it is our intent to actually have after speaking with the gentleman from MDOT on the 11th, and possibly meeting with Tifa subsequently after that, having good numbers, better numbers, for the council on the 18th, so you guys can make an informed decision on how to proceed.
Thank you. Yes, Councilman Flynn?
If all that falls into place, is there a way that council could get those numbers before the meeting so that we could kind of look them over for that night?
Yes, our intent is to definitely have them by that Thursday night
Oh, okay.
as part of the packet. But if we can get them sooner, we sure will share them.
Thank you.
Councilman Bentley?
Did you have something else?
I was gonna ask if we could break down the participating versus non-participating for City Hall and Cook, and Waldron is fully participating, correct?
That is
So it's those two projects that have two different portions to them?
correct.
Okay.
So that, the breakdown is in the packet with the category summary.
Yeah, I'm trying to, like, what is that? What do those, all those specifications mean for the project, practically?
So we can go by, you want to just go by locations?
Yeah, maybe Cook Street first?
Perfect, so Cook Street's divided into two, of course, non-participating, participating. The non-participating portion is the MO meeting that's gonna be put on our Cook Street to get ingress and egress for the local businesses or residents of Cook Street. Now, closing off Cook Street at M99, curb and gutter, sidewalk and upgrade and so forth, that is that is a participating portion.
Is that just because of the location? One is off of M99 and the other is not?
Correct.
Okay. Do we have a sense of whether you can take one of these? Is there gonna be, it sounds like there's gonna be an issue if the ingress egress isn't chosen and the first part of the project is done. That's my sense of the.
So the grant is pedestrian based, so that's why the close off of Cook Street is on the tap because of the walkability through there. The drive approach has nothing to do with pedestrians, so that's why it is part of non-participating.
Right, I guess I'm wondering if the people at St. Anthony's, St. Peter's, everyone who uses that area, if there is even an option for them of just doing the participating. It seems like once you close that off, you sort of need that extra ingress or egress, at least that's what I was hearing. So I'm just trying to get a sense of which ones of those are sort of fundamentally paired together and you can't really just take the state money without also doing our own project.
And I would agree with that as well, and that's what came through the public forum we had, and Councilman Flynn brought to our attention as well. That was the majority that was in favor of it, but wanted that ingress and egress to still utilize that.
Okay, so Cook Street participating and non-participating are fairly matched up there. Then City Hall.
So City Hall is broken down to City Hall, TAP, and non-participate. So non-participating at City Hall encompasses abandoning North Street and chunk of Ferris and Union. So one thing we also did on this is we did a cost analysis of redoing those streets as well. So we're doing those streets in its current state. There are Paisley rating 2, need full reconstruct, you're looking at $253,000. That parking lot only houses 11 vehicles right now. With the improvements we're looking at, we're going up to 36 additional spots to help with Kiefer downtown on there. So we believe that money is better spent as a parking lot that the downtown needs. So encompass on that as well is redoing the configuration here at City Hall. So everyone can be able to ingress off of Carlton, head in this way. The police, of course, will park down here for immediate removal. There will be a secondary entrance off of Carlton for the parking lot. On that City Hall tap as well, would be doing a continuation of the road diet from City Hall to Oak, and that will only be grinding and reinstalling pavement markings. Also with that is redoing 4 storm structures, healing in the curves on Union Street, Union and North Street on that as well. So that is, I'm sorry, I just went through the participating portion of that.
So storm structures, curb, and this quarter-mile road diet are participating.
Correct.
The parking lot and traffic flow portions are non-participating. Thank you. Yes, Councilman Flynn.
Real quick, Jason, the portion on Carlton go to Oak Street, every now and again after a heavy rain, the water over road signs pop up over here by Gelzer's. Will that be fixed? Is that part of the storm structure you're talking about?
That's what we're gonna try, yes, we're gonna try to bust in, find that tile and put another structure in. That's one of the goals.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Bentley?
Yes, forgive me. I'm very frustrated. Not with you guys. I don't even know if I have any questions for you. I have questions about what we received in the packet. This is insufficient. I don't know how to express myself. The people are up here saying no, no, no. This is still a bureaucracy-driven item. We around this council are asking dumb questions of the guys who know. This is a matter of spreadsheets and maps, and I don't have spreadsheets or maps. I don't know why this explanation wasn't included here. I care about what this is. I asked to be in the meeting, the first meeting you had with MDOT, and you forbade me. I don't know how to get a hold of this project. We want it dead, and if I want it dead.
Not everybody wants it dead. You gotta make that understand. Not everybody wants it dead. Go on.
Everyone on this council doesn't want it dead. I agree. Everyone on this council doesn't want it dead. And I said, when we had that vote, I mean, I guess my first question is, why didn't we have that vote on June 30th? I still don't know why we had that vote. We still don't understand. Councilman Flynn and Councilman Palladino asked the questions, but I don't think there's any clarity for the people. There's no clarity for me. There's no clarity for anyone here. I want clarity. I want to know, we want to be able to pick and choose and decide, not have them explain it to us after the fact. This is maps and spreadsheets, costs and benefits. And I don't know how to say it any different. I email, I run for mayor, I'm frustrated. I would like the spreadsheets and the maps so the people can understand. The people are not stupid. These should not be the only two people in the room that understand what's going on. So I would like to kill it tonight. I'm not going to insist we vote on it, but I do want to kill it, and I do want to tweak it, and I want us to tweak it, and I want the information to get to us and the people so everybody can understand without asking, this, that, and the other, and the gutter on the Cook Street and whatever. Like, lay it out so we know what the conversation is. We're all adults. We can understand what the MDOT and the staff are talking about. This is insufficient. And the people are frustrated. They keep showing up. This will not end until we kill it, or at least we get some clarity. And it's led by council. This should be led by council, not by, and no offense, competent staff. I hope you stay forever. I hope you retire from Hillsdale. I'm not giving you a hard time. I'm just frustrated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Bentley. To follow up on that, what is the purpose of the June 30th resolution and how does it differ from the next one?
So the resolution on June 30th was to indicate council support for the MDOT traffic calming plan and the intent of the city to participate in it as a collaborative process with MDOT. There are no financial obligations as part of that resolution,
right,
but it's the intent to proceed, and that was needed so they could receive our grant application and begin evaluating it. And then when we come back to council at the next meeting on the 18th, that's when, again, we're going to have some more refined numbers and the remaining few items that we need a little bit of clarity on. We will have that information, and then council can take a look at the menu of options and decides if they want to fund part, some, all, none, and make that decision. So it's a multi-step process as we go through submitting the grant.
So when we voted on the initial resolution, am I recalling correctly? Well, actually, I wasn't here. When council voted on the initial resolution, didn't we sort of already have a tentative thumbs up from the TAP committee?
So we had worked with the TAP committee to they reviewed our preliminary grant application. They still need that resolution as a signal of our interest in participating in the project, because they don't do as they said at one of the public hearings, they don't do a road diet project if the community is not in support and in favor of it. And so that resolution was needed with our application materials to complete that submittal. And then now that it has been reviewed and we've had the opportunity to go through and refine the grant application with MDOT staff, they're going to come back and they're going to ask this council to reaffirm support of the project, and in particular whether or not, we want to do the non-participating items. Because they're not going to have them all engineered and, do all that together if we're not sure if we want
Sure.
to do the non-participating.
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
So we had not submitted the application until after June 30th.
So because the grant was submitted, but it has to be revised. After as MDOT said, they actually did a high-level review this time of our grant, or
Okay.
of our grant application.
So we submit an application, they give us a sort of, go, keep going, do these revisions, and then we're gonna need something slightly more formal, which is a non-binding, non-monetary resolution. Then we do that, and then there's another step of revisions, and it's not until that point that MDOT actually offers to go through line by line and see what we are.
Yeah, I mean, the July 16th meeting was there was the first opportunity for city staff to sit down with MDOT and do that high-level review. Prior to that, they had looked at certain elements and they'd given us some preliminary indications that we like the concept, we like the project, but that was the first opportunity to go line by line and to make sure that the things that are eligible are categorized as eligible and the things that are non-participating are, marked as non-participating. So it's a kind of continual revision process. And, as the grant funding agency, they know the program criteria and eligibility requirements, and they're in charge of, and they interpret those, right? And so they will tell us, you guys need to make this change. And so that's the process that we've been going through, is, working to reconcile, our grant application with what they believe is going to be reviewed favorably by the TAP committee. And in order to stay on schedule with this process, that's where at the meeting next week, they need an indication of whether we are going to support, the non-participating items. Then it will go to their TAP committee for review, and at that point, they will make a funding decision.
Okay. Yeah, I understand the frustration from that perspective. I'm sure you two do. You two do as well. Excuse me. It just seems highly informal and sort of slow-rolling, impossibly bureaucratic. You don't actually get final answers until you're right up to the decision point. So yeah, from that perspective, I understand. Sorry, I'm asking too many in a row. Council.
Welcome,
Councilman Stuchel.
What I mean with TIFA, is that gonna be for the whole TIFA board, or are you just gonna?
Yeah, so the idea would be to convene a special TIFA meeting. And we want to wait until after we have a chance to meet with this individual at MDOT on the 11th and hear back from them. But then we would, take these numbers and we would go to TIFA and we would talk about, if they have an interest in supporting it and what that support might look like. And that way, when we bring it back to council, you all have an indication of whether, TIFA is offering to share some of the costs. So that way you can make an informed decision based on that.
Thank you, Councilman Stuchel. To follow up on that, if I may, Councilman Bentley, when you write city match for these scenarios and add-ons, that is the full cost to the municipality as a whole, city or TIFA. You're not splitting that 50-50, the city match.
So the city match is the 20% share that the city, would contribute. I believe the intent would be, in talking with TIFA, the intent would be to look at some of the non-participating items that are TAP ineligible, but still align with their adopted development plan, as well as the 2017 placemaking study, and see where that overlap is, and then ask if they want to contribute to some of the non-participating costs to lower the amount that the city would need to kick in.
Okay, but just to clarify, so when it says 114,236, that's not split 50% with TIFA. It's not actually 228,000.
No.
Okay, that's the total cost of the city. Thank you. Yes, Councilman Bentley.
Again, forgive me, gentlemen. It is not your job to hear the people. It is our job to hear the people. And it was your job, I guess, as part of this process, to hold those two public forums. I would challenge my fellow council members that we don't have to have forums when we're mandated as part of the process by MDOT. I again call for a night dedicated to the people to come and give us an earful for 2, 3+ hours. You will have hundreds of people here, and you will see the anger. Just see the anger. We get 4 or 5 showing up every week now, every meeting now, and God bless them. But if we advertise a public forum that's not write a note on a card and has MDOT here and these guys, is essentially just us, as the elected representatives of the people, they will demonstrate to you that this is just beyond the pale. So I would challenge my council, my peers, that we hold such a hearing, I guess sometime after the 11th, or as soon as possible, or any time. And there will be dozens and dozens and dozens of angry people here.
Thank you, Councilman Bentley. Just for your knowledge, so you are allowed to call a special meeting under the charter under written request of the mayor or any 2 members of the council. So 2 members of council at any point can request a special meeting. If you want to have a hearing on that, that is your prerogative.
Thank you.
Okay, if I may,
Oh, just
Mr.
something
Blake,
to add.
yes, please.
So we keep talking about this miscellaneous. Miscellaneous encompasses mostly the brick apron behind the curb from City Hall all the way to Bacon and then wraps around here at City Hall. So that's what we're waiting on. 99% of that is that brickwork to be upgraded to concrete. And we're trying to color tinted concrete still to keep that appeal.
Okay, that's perfect. That's where I was going next. I had heard, like Jonesville, that we're moving away from the brick to a colored concrete. Is there any way around this? I assume it has to do with just maintenance.
Maintenance is a big thing. Trip hazards, heaving, lifting, curling. Third times, third times over, they need to be upgraded.
What would it cost to redo the brick? All the brick leaving the city is breaking my heart.
I couldn't even give you a price on it, really compared to. I could look into, because we actually got a price to redo Grove Street brick. I could send that to you in an email what the comparison is for projects for brick compared to concrete.
Okay, thank you. That'd be great. How did the city do that initially?
That was part of the 2008 streetscape project with MDOT.
Was that like an American Recovery Act funded thing?
I
Federal
would
government?
assume, I'm just not sure.
Okay. Anything else from council? Otherwise, I want to just say about the Tifa city portion. It's my opinion that anything related to economic development in the downtown area should be paid for by Tifa as part of this project. The city could possibly could justify improvements that are made for safety or for just the drivability, the quality of the roads, right? General infrastructure work. But anything that's geared toward economic development, which parking lot might be one of those, I think should probably be covered by Tifa. That's my opinion based on looking at the tax shares and the capture of the Tifa district. That's their explicit mission. They're getting more than 50% of the tax revenue from the downtown district, so I do believe that that would be just. Okay, we're all over the place. Councilman Bentley.
No, to add on to that point, the last Tifa meeting, Mr. Gelser sat in that seat and said very explicitly for the people around in Tifa that they can do essentially whatever, if I understood correctly, they can spend their Tifa monies however they please. So since they originated this idea and they're the ones pushing this idea, as far as I'm concerned, they can pay every nickel of the city portion. Like, I don't even understand why we backed away from 50-50.
Yeah, there might be an argument to be made for that based on Tifa's increasing revenues, its mission, its purpose. I'd love to have that discussion at length. Anything else from council on this? Okay, so to clarify, August 18th will be a resolution to spend money.
There'd be two.
A resolution to commit to, and specifically the non-participating items that the city wishes to include, besides the TAP eligible items as well. So, delineating what exactly, when you look at this list, which non-participating items that the city wants to do in conjunction with the TAP eligible items.
Okay.
Because the traffic calming portion was part of the other resolution. So the calming itself was approved under the other resolution.
Right, and we're saying that resolution is set. Okay. Yeah, it does seem like it'd be one thing if it were 5-10% difference, but I think, well, I guess I can't speak for council and I wasn't here. If I were here, I would have been voting under the premise, this resolution is to do the road diet and spend $200,000 to get the full package. That's sort of what I would have been voting under the assumption of. I don't know what the rest of council thinks about that. I understand the process that you're bound by, right? You need to have this resolution before you go line by line, but man, that's brutal. Okay. Councilman Bentley.
So, you just clarified that we're expected to allocate money at the next meeting? Is this?
I'm so sorry.
No, please.
Just to reaffirm our intent to do the non-participating portion of the project. So that would be the stuff at City Hall, the parking lot, et cetera.
So that they can move forward with the engineering.
So
We're not gonna spend the money until they actually start.
Correct. So this is we need this so we can get to resubmit the TAP grant under the new numbers that we have.
Oh, it requires a resubmission.
Correct.
Okay.
To say that our previous resolution, June 3rd, I believe, is essentially worthless. Is that kind of what you're saying? No?
No, so that one is still valid, it's the non-participating stuff, so anything we're just talking about, Cook Street, drive approach, parking lot, City Hall down here, and this stuff, sort of stuff.
So again, did MDOT put a deadline on? You might have just told us and I already forgot, but.
So they're asking, and they're just asking to have this completed by the end of August, yes, end of August, so we still stay in the timeline to get this engineered and conceptual.
Yeah, well, if you're asking us, this meeting is, this portion of the meeting is about over. I don't see how any of us are gonna be up to speed to understand what we need to understand to vote to go forward in 2 weeks. I still don't understand anything, the people don't understand anything. So, I would respectfully maybe ask MDOT, yeah, we're not gonna get it done on the 18th when the guy's out till the 11th. I mean, it's almost comical to think that we're qualified to make these decisions when we don't know what we're talking about. So, I move to tell MDOT we're not gonna vote on it next meeting.
We have a motion? Can we bind a future council meeting not to vote? I
don't know, I was just throwing it out there.
Do that.
But you understand my frustration, we're not there.
I think the appropriate course of action would be to table it next meeting, if that's what council decided.
I'm always in favor of delay and more time to think. I mean, that's the American tradition, is a due sense of deliberation. So they won't accept the application, or they won't include the non-participating items if we don't have it? Is it broken out, or is it all in one?
So to stay on the current schedule, and in order to have this engineer, or to have time for the TAP committee to review it, for them to be able to come back with, the grant award, to have it engineered, to, put it out to bid, to do this as a 27 project, to stay on schedule, they need us to make that commitment before the end of August. That's what MDOT has said. So
To start this project in 2027?
it's the timeline for MDOT. To stay on that schedule, they need a response by the end of the month.
Okay, sorry, excuse me. I thought when we talked in that email thread, he said the June 30th deadline for the resolution wasn't absolute.
You did.
Councilman Bentley?
Yes, thank you. Is it Mr. Wallace that's on vacation?
No, that's Mr. Phillips.
Okay, because what I understood from him is that he's put the engineers on standby. So they're not billing hours, they're not actively participating until nowish, now that you guys got on the same page. And he would like to reactivate his engineers to get ahead, to get a jump start. So, and I'll talk to him again this week if I can, but that's my understanding is he's got his guys on standby and he's ready to put them back to work if we're resolved to do so. But I don't think they're sweating it. It's just a request that we'd like to know by the end of August. And I don't think we can do that. We ought not promise it. And if I'm right, they'll say, that's fine, get to us in, early in September. So that would be my suggestion.
Thank you, Councilman Bentley. Mr. Mackey?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So from Mr. Wallace, this is his exact list to us regarding this timeline. And I'm going to start and just basically go through the 8 items he laid out to us on Friday afternoon, about 1:30, which he gave us kind of a high-level review of the numbers. But item 1, update council and reaffirm city support of local costs to Jackson TSC. Item 2, resubmit TAP application. Item 3, TAP grant decision needed by the end of August to keep the schedule below. The below schedule is number 4, design kickoff meeting winter 2026, review of preliminary plans summer 2026, final plans fall 2026, bid letting March of 27, construction summer and fall of 27. So that's the schedule he laid out for us as of Friday.
So well, I don't know if we will, whoever is on council in March, April 2027 will be the ones that actually approve the bids.
Yes, is that
MDOT will approve, because at some point we're going to have to do another resolution to allow MDOT to bid and to bill on behalf of the city to the contractors. Because we're just going to be a flow through to MDOT.
And we will have to reimburse them early 2027, spring 2027?
It'll come through as different payments, but yeah, it's kind of like a small urban grant. We pay the state and then they'll distribute.
Oh my, this is just wild. So they could put all this work in, we could have an election, and they could say, no, we're not spending the money on that. I mean, I guess that's the danger of the political process, but that is very good to know. That sort of changes my view of things. That is such a protracted time period, and so much could change. But I guess, okay, we're not doing anything tonight. Any other comments or questions? Unless Councilman Bentley has another motion.
Sorry, that last one, no, I would retract my motion. I think that was a good
It
idea.
didn't get a second, so you're good.
This is another example, and again, I guess I'm frustrated with myself. I mean, I'm willing to take the blame for not expressing myself in the right way. I would literally like all the email, all the information. You can bury me with an email after sometime on Wednesday. I presume my days will open up a little more than they have been lately. I will read all the numbers, all the maps, all the back and forth with MDOT. I don't know why we're being left out, except we're being sidelined, and and therefore the people are being sidelined. So could you send us those 8 points from Mr. Wallace? Thank you. And again, anything and everything else, at least I will attend to it. I don't expect us all to. And again, I understand it's a difficult process that even Mayor Pro Tem doesn't have his head around. It's not the elected people's, it's not our responsibility or our right to get in the nuts and bolts of it. And so you have your procedures and your way of interfacing with with Jackson and Lansing and MDOT. But I'm trying to insist that I want to know all the things. Me as an individual, the council in general, if they're also interested. So please, again, send me everything you got.
Thank you, Councilman Bentley. Another comment, Mr. Flake?
Yeah, so this is our first grant that I've been part of, but as far as the letting process, the bid process and so forth, it is multi-year. And to bring it up, we have coming up in a month or so, the Hill Street Bridge. That's 2028, and we're doing a 30% review of drawings this coming month. So the timetable is usually that way with the funding stream and so forth.
Yeah, I think the difference with this is it's so much more political, so much more engaged with the public. The Howell Street Bridge, that's a safety thing through and through. One other question on sort of a different note, I guess the same thing. Is it possible to redo the resolution and say we're just going to do a downtown road diet and forego the grant? Can we just do City Hall to Bacon or Waldron or South or whatever we decide and say we're not going to do any of the other things?
Are you talking about just doing the TAP eligible items only? And then
TAP eligible, but also restricting the length of it. I really think we could have consensus on this with the majority of the citizens if it cost very little and was a downtown road diet only. Is that possible?
So, and just in my conversation with MDOT, just over the phone when I was getting that numbers after work, we both, as administrative and on their end, would like to see the road back go out of Steenberg because of geometrics, right?
Right.
If it stops at South Street, essentially you're gonna have passing lanes as, at the curve going to and from, so forth. It's not gonna have the effect that we want it to have. So that's just coming back from MDOT and from myself.
Okay. Councilman Clinton, yes.
I do remember asking that exact question at the last meeting we had at the library with one of the MDOT directors, and he said, basically said it was all or nothing. I brought up the same thing, that we just stop at Bacon Street and do from here to Bacon, and leave from Bacon to the fairgrounds alone, and he said, no, you gotta do it all or you can't, that's part of the project.
Okay.
So it's all or nothing, basically.
Thank you, Councilman Flynn. Anything else from council or staff? Yeah, I do. I mean, this goes back to my fundamental objection to this form of government. We should be in those meetings. We should be taking the heat for this. I feel bad for you guys for this is not your fault that there's 2 years of meetings. We should have to explain that to the public. Okay, I will move on. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
thank you.